So this is a video I've been meaning to make for a while, but this video is also going to be very long and very work intensive for me, so believe it or not, I've been putting it off. There is nowhere on the great, wide, expansive internet where you can find the entire chronological order of how to read and watch the entirety of Naruto's universe. And for a while, I was like, that sucks. And then eventually I got to thinking, I'm probably the only person qualified to make one. And it was at that point that I realized that the reason that the World Wide Web didn't have a chronological order of Naruto's entire universe is because, well, it's complicated and incredibly long. See, obviously within the confines of Naruto, there is the anime, and there's the manga, and there's movies, and there's also light novels. And while you can very easily find a list of how to chronologically watch Naruto with the movies built into there, that does not take into account by any means the novels, of which there is almost 20. Not to mention, some of the novels have actually already been animated into the show, and the fact that things like Boruto's movie have a movie but have also been animated into Boruto, and you, my friend, have an incredibly complicated and scary soup of quite literally thousands of pages of content. But I decided to sit down for about 2 hours and write out the chronological list of everything that's ever been released within the Naruto universe, and now we're gonna make a video about it. So please, grab a snack, grab a drink, you're probably gonna be here for a little while. Because I'm not just gonna be reading this off like a list. That would take me 5 minutes. I'm not only gonna be telling you what order to read or watch everything in Naruto, I'm also gonna tell you what each of these pieces of media contains lore-wise. So with no further ado, let's get into Naruto's entire chronological timeline. This is arguably the most effort I'll probably ever put into making a YouTube video, so if you guys could go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the page, hit that noti bell, well, that'd mean the world to me. And if you like working my fingers to the bone, then you're gonna love my other YouTube channel, The Weeb Commander, where instead of talking Naruto, I talk literally every other anime. Black Clover, Avatar, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, One Piece, Bleach, all of it. So Naruto's timeline. Well, it may seem like a relatively simple thing, just read the manga and then you're gonna be good. There's a lot more layers to it than that. Well, obviously about 99% of the movies involved in this list are not canon, and about 99% of the novels listed in this list you've never read. Everything included in this list does technically fall into the chronological order of how you can consume Naruto. Now, I'm gonna be making no distinction between non-canon and canon here, and I am gonna be talking about Naruto through the medium of the anime more often than I'm talking about it through the medium of the manga. That is to say, I'll be saying things like watch episode 1 to 100 of Naruto before watching the first movie or something like that, as opposed to saying read chapter 1 through chapter 60 or something like that. This is easier for me, and I feel as though more people watch the show than read the manga, so I feel as though this works best for everyone. Cool, now that we got our rules out of the way, let's dive in. The first piece of chronological media ever released in the Naruto universe is Itachi's light novel. While one could absolutely argue that there is chapters in the Naruto manga that happened long before Itachi's light novel in terms of the timeline. Obviously, during the war arc, we got Hashirama and Madara's backstory, we got Hagoromo and Hamura's backstory, but I'm not gonna go that deep into canonicity. There would be no logical reason to read chapter 500 before you read chapter 1. That'd be stupid. So for the sake of chronological media being released to be chronological and not just stories branching off the main story, the first thing is Itachi's light novels. Now, Itachi has 2 light novels, Itachi Shinden, Book of Bright Light, and Itachi Shinden, Book of Dark Night. Both of these light novels serve to give us a better look into Itachi's life prior to the Uchiha massacre, and a little bit after it. See, Itachi's first light novel, Book of Bright Light, picks up with Itachi at 4 years old. We then learn about Itachi's upbringing, how he was a child genius, how he passed through the Ninja Academy with flying colors, and upon leaving the Ninja Academy, how he flew through the ranks of ninja incredibly quickly, eventually joining the Anbu, being recruited into the Anbu by both Hiruzen and Danzo. The book rounds out talking about Itachi and Shisui's exploits in the Anbu before they were truly spies for Konoha against the Uchiha. Itachi's second light novel, The Book of Dark Night, talks more about the Uchiha massacre, how Itachi and Shisui were recruited to spy on the Uchiha, and how after basically infiltrating the Uchiha, they were relaying information back to Danzo. Book of Dark Night also gives us the best look we've ever had into the Uchiha massacre, basically taking us step by by step with Itachi as he cut down his own clan. And then it finishes off with Itachi talking to Hiruzen and Hiruzen stripping all of Danzo's rights away and Itachi leaving the village, making sure on the way out to kill Yoji Aburame, the man responsible for Shisui's death. After reading those two novels, you're gonna want to go ahead and watch Naruto episode 1 through 100. Now, these 100 episodes are arguably the best part of Naruto. Within the first 20 episodes, we see Naruto graduating from the Ninja Academy and going to the Land of Waves. We get the entire story of Zabuza and Haku and their subsequent deaths. After returning from the Land of Waves, it's time for the Chunin exam, where we get things like the Forest of Death and the one-on-one battles to prove who will become a Chunin. Within these one-on-one battles, we get things like Rock Lee versus Gaara, Naruto versus Kiba, Sakura versus Ino, not something I look back on fondly, Hinata versus Neji, and then subsequently further down the line, things like Sasuke versus Gaara and Naruto versus Neji. And then after the conclusion of the Chunin exams, we get the Konoha Crush arc, where Orochimaru and the Hidden Sand Village launch their attack on Konoha. Within this, we get Naruto turning Gamabunta into Kurama in a battle against Gaara and Shukaku. We get Hiruzen and Orochimaru holding on to each other for 10 straight episodes, and we even get to see Edo Tensei for the first time. And then after the conclusion of the Konoha Crush arc, we get the Search for Tsunade arc, which closes out at episode 100. Now, in the anime, after the Search for Tsunade arc, there's the Land of Tea escort mission, which as filler goes is fine. But the real thing that I want to focus on is that after episode 100, that is to say between the Search for Tsunade and the Sasuke recovery arcs, there was an OVA release that was an animation of the first Naruto light novel ever created. And that light novel and the subsequent OVA, which are slightly different from each other, was called Naruto Protect the Waterfall Village. Now, this is arguably the first and last time that we ever really get a look at the Waterfall Village. The same Waterfall Village that had Chome, Fu, and Kakuzu come from it. It is arguably an incredibly important village. In this OVA and the light novel are actually really fun. In this light novel and or OVA, Team 7 without Kakashi has to basically reinstate the king of the Hidden Waterfall Village. Essentially, the Hidden Waterfall Village has been taken over by a couple of unsavory types, and the man who was supposed to be the leader of the Hidden Waterfall Village recruited Team 7 without Kakashi to help him bring peace back to the Waterfall Village. It's actually within the confines of this novel and or OVA that we're introduced to one of the cooler ability boosting techniques in Naruto, Hero's Water, a type of water specific to the Hidden Waterfall Village. A water that if you drink increases your chakra output by 10-fold. However, there's a trade-off for this, like all things in Naruto. However much your chakra is increased in that moment, your lifespan is decreased by. So should hypothetically your chakra be increased 10-fold, your lifespan is decreased 10-fold. After either reading that light novel or watching that OVA, you would go back to the Naruto anime for episodes 100 to 105. This is the Tea escort mission. And then after getting to episode 105, you pause and you go and you watch the first ever Naruto movie, Clash in the Land of Snow. This movie revolves around Team 7 protecting an actress making a movie in the Land of Snow, of which she happens to be the princess of. However, recently the Land of Snow has been taken over by her somewhat evil uncle. Her uncle, by the name of Doto, wants her crystal necklace so he can unlock all the secrets of the Land of Snow. You could imagine this would add complications to an actress who now has to go to a certain area to film a movie. Doto has 3 rogue ninjas that work for him that end up wiping the floor with Yuki's protection squad of 50 samurai. And after this exchange, Yuki is kidnapped by Doto in a blimp. However, Team 7 is able to latch themselves onto the blimp and kill the rogue ninja. Not before Doto gets the crystal from Yuki, however. And after Team 7 defeated Doto and returned the crystal to the princess, she committed herself to perfecting the technology, making the Land of Snow the Land of Spring. And Naruto, after getting really beat up, gets a kiss from the princess. So, you know, pretty much the perfect movie. After that movie, you're gonna watch from episode 106 to 135. This is the Sasuke retrieval arc. And while technically you could watch until episode 160 because that's where the second movie chronologically fits into the storyline, everything from episode 135 to 219 is filler. So do you, boo. However, basically after the Sasuke retrieval arc, which we all know is Sasuke leaving the village and a bunch of Genin trying to follow him, and all of their respective Genin coming into battle against different members of the Sound Village 4, with Naruto and Sasuke meeting each other in the Valley of the End for the first time, we get Naruto's second movie, The Legend of the Stone of Galel. I just realized I'm kind of spoiling things here in this chronological review of Naruto's entire timeline. So from now on, I think I'm just gonna give a brief summation of what's going on so you can have your best chance to watch this chronologically or read it chronologically and experience it for the first time for yourself if you haven't. But at the same time, give you enough information to feel as though this might be a recap. This second Naruto movie is a bit more forgettable than the first one. This movie revolves around the Galel Stone, a stone that grants mysterious mysterious and powerful powers to those who wield it, and takes place near the Hidden Sand Village. See, like I stated earlier, this Galel Stone grants mysterious powers to those who wield it. However, with great power comes great responsibility, and thus those who ever got their hands on Galel Stone were usually wiped out in wars over maintaining said Galel Stone. The movie revolves around Gaara and Kankuro coming into combat against these people looking for the Galel Stone, and through a series of unfortunate events, Naruto, Shikamaru, and Sakura get tied into this battle. And as they get tied further and further into the battle over this Galel Stone, they learn the history of the stone and the atrocities that have been committed in order to get it, with peaceful civilians being killed simply for having Galel Stone in their possession, and mad scientists trying to use the Galel Stone to manufacture super soldiers to create a utopia, while a lot of other people are looking for Galel Stone in order to heal the chronically ill. This movie gives us a good look into Naruto's psychology after dealing with the loss of Sasuke, and gives us a nice little touch into what's going on in the Hidden Sand Village with Gaara and Kankuro returning after Konoha Crush. As far as OG Naruto movies go, well, I guess there's actually only 2 of them. It's the worst out of the 2, but it's not that bad. After finishing that movie, you'll go back to Naruto and you'll watch episodes 161 through 219 if you want to. Like I said, they're all filler. And then with episode 220, we become ready for the time skip. Oh wait, I lied, I'm sorry. Watch until episode 219 and then watch the third and final movie, Guardians of the Crescent Moon Kingdom. And just like with the first Naruto movie, Team 7 has been assigned to protecting, this time, a prince. And that's not the only difference. This prince is the prince of the Land of the Moon. However, returning the prince to the Land of the Moon, they realize that the Land of the Moon has been overthrown by a greedy minister. And thus the plot of the movie becomes trying to overthrow this greedy minister who's hired Rogue Ninja to make sure that the prince is killed and make sure his rule is cemented. And cemented is a really good word there, considering the fact that the minister is able to use a technique that petrifies people. This is probably the best out of Naruto's original movies, considering the fact that this movie actually had like an underlying tone and plot. Essentially, the prince and everybody in the prince's life are incredibly wealthy, and they try to flaunt their wealth to prove they're happier than everybody. But the underlying plot of the movie is that money doesn't buy you wealth, and it's the actions and circumstances you surround yourself with that truly bring you happiness. And by the end of the movie, that's hammered home pretty nicely. All in all of the original Naruto movies are pretty good, but this one's definitely the best. After that movie, then you watch episode 220 and you're ready for the time skip. And then boom, baby, we're on to Shippuden. And that's really only a quarter of the way done with this list. From here, you're gonna wanna watch episodes 1 to 56 in Naruto Shippuden. And Shippuden got off to a really hot start. These first 56 episodes are all canon, with the first 32 episodes being the Kazekage rescue mission, where Gaara is kidnapped by Sasori and Deidara, and Sakura and Granny Chiyo have to go fight against Sasori. And it's really the first time that we're introduced to the greater scheme of the Akatsuki, trying to pull the tailed beasts out of Jinchuriki. After this, episodes 33 through 53 are the Tenchi Bridge reconnaissance mission. It was in these episodes that we were originally introduced to Sai, as Sai was added into Team 7 with Yamato, and all of them went to go get Sasuke back. It was in this couple of episodes that we saw the battle between Orochimaru and Naruto, and for the first time ever really began to understand that the Nine Tails could fully control Naruto. After those first 56 episodes, we get our first ever Naruto Shippuden movie. This movie revolves around a spirit that tried to destroy the entire world. A spirit by the name of Moryo. A man by the name of Yomi is trying to use this spirit Moryo that was sealed away to start his 1,000-year kingdom. Sounds a lot like somebody else's plan, but we won't talk about that. The only possible hitch in Yomi's plan is a priestess by the name of Shion, who would have the ability to seal away Moryo once again. Because Shion would be the only way to stop this 1,000-year kingdom from arising, Konoha sent Neji, Rock Lee, Sakura, and Naruto to protect Shion. However, upon meeting Naruto, Shion began to tell Naruto about his impending death, because Shion could see the future. The rest of the movie revolves around getting Shion to the temple where Moryo's seal is, well, sealed, and making sure that Moryo isn't released from said seal. As Naruto, Shion, Rock Lee, Neji, and Sakura all battle their way through an army of stone golems of sorts. This movie revolves a lot around the idea of fate, and how one can rewrite their own fate through action and inspiration. And like with any other Naruto movie, it ends with Naruto using a massive Rasengan to kill an enemy we've never heard of prior to this movie, and using Tak no Jutsu to inspire those around him to live the best versions of their lives. This movie's actually really fun. Shion is a compelling character who has an interesting backstory. Moryo / Yomi are intimidating final bosses for the movie, and you get a lot of Rock Lee's silliness and Neji's actual growth into a more developed character throughout the duration of the movie. It was actually a really good start start for Naruto Shippuden's movies. After that movie, we have our first filler arc in Naruto Shippuden. And it was something. Episodes 54 through 71 are the 12 Guardian Ninjas arc. Within the confines of this arc, we get a better understanding of what the 12 Guardian Ninjas are, which is 12 ninjas chosen from the Land of Fire, not just specifically Konoha, to protect the Fire Daimyo. The best example of one of the 12 Guardians that we know is Asuma. It's also in this arc that we're introduced to Sora, one of the dumbest decisions the Naruto creators have ever created. Sora is a filler character. He is a monk, and his father spliced his DNA with Kurama's, making Sora a pseudo-Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails. Now, technically, all of this chakra gets released from Sora by the end of this arc, but the fact that there was just another Nine Tails Jinchuriki running around will never not irk me. And then after the conclusion of the 12 Guardians arc, you have another movie. Roughly 16 episodes after Naruto Shippuden the movie, we have Bonds. I believe during the creation of Naruto Shippuden that the creators of Naruto were like,
oh my god, movies, easy to make, not canon, way more money.
Because pretty much every single year of Naruto Shippuden's production, there was a movie. Bonds is considered by many to be the best non-canon Naruto movie. I'm personally more partial to Blood Prison, but let's talk about Bonds. Bonds revolves around the Land of Sky, specifically how ninjas from the Land of Sky are mounting an offensive against Konoha because in the Second Great Shinobi World War, Konoha attacked the Land of Sky. And you're not gonna believe how this movie starts, with an escort mission. I would call Konoha an escort service if that didn't have a massively different meaning. After the Land of Sky ninja attack Konoha, a child comes to Konoha to tell Konoha that his village has been destroyed. And Naruto, Sakura, and Hinata are assigned to returning this boy and his sensei, who is a doctor, back to the village to help the villagers. All the while this is going on, Orochimaru's body is rapidly decaying. And Orochimaru wants to capitalize on the fact that Land of Sky shinobi are attacking Konoha. And thus he tells Sasuke to take advantage of this situation and go help him find somebody who can help him perfect Edo Tensei. Jumping back to Hinata, Naruto, and Sakura, on the way to this village that had been destroyed, they encounter a beast by the name of the Zero Tails, which is a snake-like being claiming to be one of the tail beasts, except that the snake and therefore can't have a tail. It is literally all tail. Sakura proceeds to get absolutely dog-washed by this thing. Naruto fights it for a little bit, and then eventually it's revealed that the person that Sasuke was looking for is heavily tied to the Zero Tails, and Naruto and Sasuke together have to fight against the Zero Tails. And therefore this movie is truly one of the first times that Naruto and Sasuke see each other and have to deal with each other and work together. And while we see the two of them work together, we also see combat between the two of them, where we get to see just how far along they've come in their own respective abilities. The reason this movie is called Bonds is because it deals with the bonds between Sasuke and Naruto, how they're changing with the amount of time that Sasuke spends out of Konoha. The introduction of a pseudo-tailed beast character and bringing Sasuke back into the fold is probably why the majority of people think that Bonds is the best non-canon movie. And if you're gonna watch any of the non-canon movies, this is definitely top 2, top 3. After you watch Bonds, you go back to Naruto Shippuden and watch episodes 71 through 121. These episodes, 71 through 89-ish, deal with Hidan and Kakuzu, meaning within these episodes, we see Ina Shikacho and Asuma against Hidan and Kakuzu for the first time. We see Shikamaru get his revenge against Hidan, and we see the first ever Rasen Shuriken when it's used against Kakuzu. Episodes 89-ish through 112 are filler, however, they're very good filler. This is the Three Tails appearance arc. Essentially, this arc goes over the fact that after Yagura, the 4th Mizokage's death, the Three Tails Isobu was released back into nature. This arc deals with the Akatsuki, Konoha, and a character by the name of Gurin, who has a crystal release Kekkei that allows her to essentially make crystals out of anything or crystallize entire people, all trying to find and capture Isobu, the Three Tails. While Konoha is trying to capture the Three Tails so the Akatsuki don't get it, the Akatsuki are trying to capture the Three Tails so they can put it in the Geto statue, and Gurin is trying to capture the Three Tails for power. This arc gives us a slight look back into Yagura's life, how he lived, how he died, a look into the Blood Mist village. It even shows us the battle between Yagura, Itachi, and Juzo, which is arguably one of the more interesting fights in Naruto history when you consider the fact that Yagura was actually able to pseudo-defeat Itachi. On top of that, it addresses the question what happens after a Jinchuriki dies, and gives us arguably one of the coolest Kekkei in Naruto, even though it's not canon, in Crystal Release. After the conclusion of that arc, we have episodes 113 to 118. This is known as the Itachi Pursuit arc, where the narrative shifts more to the POV of Sasuke as he's trying to find Itachi. In these 5 episodes, we see Sasuke kill Orochimaru, and we see Naruto as he scrambles to find Itachi before Sasuke does. On top of that, in these 5 episodes, we see the first iteration of Taka's creation, where Sasuke recruits Jugo, Karin, and Suigetsu to join him. After that, episode 119 and 120 are about Kakashi. Specifically, it's the first time, but not the last time by any means, that we get a look into Kakashi's backstory. His relationship with Rin and Obito, his rivalry with Obito, his relationship with Minato, the passing of his father. And it's actually within the confines of these first 2 episodes that we see the death of Obito and how Kakashi acquired his Sharingan. After the conclusion of Kakashi's backstory, we get episodes 121 to 126, which, while technically focuses on Naruto and Sasuke trying to find Itachi, is mostly revolving around Sasuke's battle against Deidara. Then from episodes 127 to 134, we get Jiraiya infiltrating the Hidden Rain Village. We all know how that goes. Man, looking back at it now, these 20 episodes were arguably the best 20 episodes in Naruto's history. Orochimaru is killed, Taka is founded, then we get Deidara versus Sasuke, then we get Jiraiya versus Pain, and then after all of that, we get Itachi versus Sasuke. Because episodes 134-ish to 138 revolve around Sasuke and Itachi's fated battle. And I know we've been with the anime for so long here.
Nick, when are we gonna take a step away from the anime?
The answer is right now. Right after the conclusion of Sasuke and Itachi's battle, we take a step away and head back to the light novels, specifically to Naruto Jin Raiden, The Day the Wolf Howled. Now, this is a light novel that follows Sasuke after Itachi's death, but before Sasuke awakens his Mangekyo Sharingan. You see, this light novel mostly talks about what Sasuke's thought process was after killing Itachi before having the truth of Itachi revealed to him by Obito. See, upon awakening after his fight against Itachi, Itachi wakes up in Obito's lab. And it's at this point that Obito offers Sasuke eye drops that Itachi used to cure the irritation caused to his eyes by the use of his Mangekyo Sharingan. After giving him the eye drops and leaving, he tells him that he acquired these eye drops in the Howling Wolf Village. Determined to find more out about Itachi's illness, Sasuke heads to this Howling Wolf Village. And upon getting there, he starts to look for the source of Itachi's medicine. And after finding the source of Itachi's medicine on the outskirts of the village, Sasuke starts to talk to those who created it. And from them, he learns a lot about Itachi, like how Itachi would come to the village 1 to 2 times a year and order a bulk order of the most powerful version of the medicine they had. And how while Itachi was in the village, he would protect the 2 children who made this drug from the clan that ruled over the village with an iron fist. They even began to tell Sasuke about how Itachi was initially distant because he was so ill, but as he returned to them year after year for this drug, he would warm up and began to tell them about his little brother Sasuke. Now, the 2 people that created Itachi's drug were actually brothers themselves, and Sasuke saw the similarities between their relationship and his relationship with Itachi when he was young. Over the duration of the light novel, Sasuke has to help free this village from the ruling of the Sendo clan, and throughout the duration of the light novel, more and more parallels are drawn between the 2 brothers that created Itachi's drug and Itachi and Sasuke. And over the course of overthrowing the Sendo clan and dealing with these 2 brothers who had helped Itachi stay alive for years, Sasuke began to come to grips with Itachi's death. And it's really through this light novel that we see and actually begin to understand why Hebi was turned into Taka, and why the feelings of Sasuke changed. We also get to see him make peace with Itachi's death and realize that it was Konoha who put Itachi in the situation that he was in. See, one of the biggest critiques amongst Naruto fans is that Sasuke switches up way too quickly. Essentially, the second Tobi tells him about Itachi, he switches up his entire personality and decides he's going to destroy Konoha now. But when you read this light novel and you begin to understand the emotions that Sasuke went through, seeing a reflection of him and Itachi in these brothers who made Itachi's medicine, and Sasuke come to grips with what happened to his brother and how his brother was trying to protect him, his decisions actually begin to make a little bit more sense. So if you've ever genuinely been curious about why Sasuke changes so much after Itachi's death, I'd recommend giving this light novel a read. From there on out, you would watch episode 139 to 170. And in this slew of episodes, it begins with Sasuke awakening after Itachi's fight, him learning the reality of Itachi's situation from Obito, the awakening of his MS, and switching Hebi to Taka. Episodes 144 to 151 are the Six Tails Unleashed arc. This arc gives us a closer look into the life of Utakata, the Six Tails Jinchuriki, while showing us the power of Saiken, the Six Tails, and arguably, possibly the strongest jutsu in the entirety of Naruto, fury. After the conclusion of Utakata's story with Nagato killing Utakata and stealing Seiken for the Geto statue, we find ourselves in episodes 152 to 169, which is the first half of the Pain Assault. Now, episodes 170 and 171 are filler that you can skip. Upon getting to episode 170, though, it's time for you to watch your yearly movie, and that would be The Lost Tower. I'm just now realizing I accidentally skipped The Will of Fire, which is also considered one of the better Naruto movies of all time, so not a great look. I got so excited to talk about Itachi, I just completely blew through that section of the chronological order. So to go backwards real quick, it goes Bonds, episode 71 to 121, and then The Will of Fire. The Will of Fire is a movie that's supposed to set the undertone of tension for the outbreak of the upcoming Fourth Great Shinobi World War. Essentially what happens is that from every single village outside of Konoha, a couple of Kekkei Genkai users disappear. Thus, the new Team 7, with the addition of Sai, are sent to follow the tracks of some of these Kekkei Genkai users who have disappeared. Because Konoha were the only people to not lose Kekkei Genkai users, everybody else starts to suspect that Konoha stole these Kekkei Genkai users, which is why it's so important for Team Kakashi to go find these Kekkei Genkai users. There's no real undertone to this movie. It's just essentially a man named Hiroko who used to be a friend of the legendary Sani and creates an ability called Chimera that allows him to absorb other people into his body and use their chakra and Kekkei Genkai. And he was going around abducting all these Kekkei Genkai users so he could amass more powers for himself because he wanted to activate the Fourth Great Shinobi World War and defeat the Ninja World. And the movie just kind of finishes with a newly formed Team Kakashi beating Hiroko. The movie's fine if you just want to put on a movie for 90 minutes and kind of zone out. It's just your stereotypical anime movie. New kind of bad guy that's somehow weaving into the story, that has an ability we'll never see again, and we have to defeat him in the end. But it stumbles where movies like Bonds and the Crescent Moon Kingdom thrive, in that there's an underlying tone that wraps into the main story of Naruto. Okay, back to The Lost Tower, which we're watching after episode 170. This is arguably the most forgettable Naruto Shippuden movie ever created, but it's one of my favorites. This movie opens with Sai, Naruto, Sakura, and Yamato being assigned to catch a rogue ninja. A rogue ninja by the name of Mukade. Mukade is trying to access an ancient chakra that resides within the crust of the earth. This ancient chakra is referred to as Ryumyaku and was actually sealed into the earth by Minato 20 years prior. However, Mukade is able to break this seal before Team 7 can get to it, and the power of Ryumyaku shoots a beam of light that catches Yamato and Naruto, while Sai and Sakura avoid it on an ink bird. The power of Ryumyaku actually sends Yamato and Naruto 20 years into the past, and thus they're there on the day that Minato sealed the Ryumyaku away. Naruto, Yamato, and Minato and the rest of Minato's team then work together to both seal the Ryumyaku away and also defeat Mukade. So in this movie, we got to see really cute moments between Minato and Naruto, as it was technically the first time that they had ever met on screen. On top of that, we got to see a young Kakashi, a young Guy, a young Asuma, and all of Minato's team in action. So while this movie is kind of a mess and leaves us with way more questions than we have answers, just getting to see Naruto and Minato be together for an hour and a half makes my heart sing. So if you're a Minato simp like me and you love seeing them together, then I highly recommend this movie. If you're not, you can probably skip it. It's kind of a mess. Once you're done with The Lost Tower, you go back to Naruto, episode 172. And with episodes 172 to 175, you finish the Pain Assault. Episodes 176 to 196 is quite literally just a montage of flashbacks. If you want to see the same story you've seen a dozen times, but this time longer and worse paced, you're gonna love these 20 episodes. If you don't need that in your life, skip them. Now, episodes 197 to 214, do not skip, because within the confines of these 17 episodes, we have the 5 Kage Summit. Now, a lot happens in this arc. Naruto pleads with the 5 Kage to not kill Sasuke for his past crimes. Danzo tries to use Kodo Matsukame on Mifune to make him Hokage. And Obito, Zetsu, and Sasuke pull up on the 5 Kage, and Sasuke gets his ass kicked by each one of the 5 Kage in a nice, neat little line. And to top this entire arc off, we have Danzo retreating from the 5 Kage Summit from Sasuke, who subsequently catches up with him and murders him. But within the confines of this battle against Sasuke, we're introduced to Izanagi and the fact that Danzo has the Kodo Matsukame. Then after the 5 Kage Summit arc comes to a conclusion after Danzo's death, we have episodes 215 to 222. This is the 4th Shinobi World War countdown arc, where we see Kakashi, Naruto, Sakura, and Sai pull up on Sasuke after he kills Danzo. Within this arc, we see Sakura try to kill Sasuke with a poisoned kunai, Kakashi coming to grips with the fact that Sasuke may not be able to be saved and that he may be the one who has to kill him, and Naruto and Sasuke coming to blows for another time. All the while Sasuke screams that he's gonna destroy Konoha for what they did to Itachi. Now after episode 221, we have another movie. But this time it's a good one, because 2011's yearly Naruto Shippuden movie was Blood Prison, my favorite non-canon Naruto movie. In this movie, Naruto is arrested and sent to Hozuki Castle because it was declared that he was responsible for the attack against the 4th Raikage during the 5 Kage Summit. See, Hozuki Castle is a prison meant for shinobi, where shinobi have their ability to use chakra sealed away the second they enter the walls. Upon entering Hozuki Castle, it's revealed to Naruto that he was framed in order to be placed in this prison, and the person who framed him was the head of the prison, whose son had been placed in the Box of Paradise 10 years ago as a sacrifice. Now, the Box of Paradise, or the Box of Ultimate Bliss, is a box that's stated to grant the wish of anybody who opens it. But in reality, it's just a box that requires a massive amount of chakra to open, and upon being opened, a spirit by the name of Satori is released. Now, the spirit, upon being released, will grab anything it can and throw it into the box. Because upon entering the box, any human becomes an ally of Satori, and Satori can be controlled. Thus, who's ever controlling this box basically has control over an incredibly powerful demon-like spirit in this box, and the spirit cannot be killed. In fact, the power of this box is so incredibly powerful that the Hidden Grass actually used this power to almost take over the world during the era of the Sage of the Six Paths. The movie revolves around the head of the prison trying to open this box using Naruto's chakra in order to use Satori to bring power back to the Hidden Grass. The action is incredible. The Box of Paradise actually has a really cool backstory that's tied into the history of Naruto as a whole, and Hozuki Castle is actually used again in Boruto. As somebody who always wondered what would happen if a ninja broke the law, like where would they be kept, this movie not only fleshed out the history of Naruto, but also answered a lot of my questions. After Blood Prison, you're going back to the anime for episodes 222 through 271. Episodes 223 to 242 is arguably the least like filler arc in the entirety of Naruto. Skip it. Episode 261 is where the war arc begins, and this arc is referred to as the 4th Great Shinobi World War Confrontation Arc. Now, we all understand that the war arc is a garbled mess of storytelling. Episodes 261 to 270 are canon, but then there's a 2-episode filler arc to get us to 272, where episodes 272 through 289 are once again the war arc, and then there is a 7-episode filler arc, and then it's 296 to 310 are once again the war arc, and then there's an 11-episode filler arc to get us to 312 through 321. What I want to talk about with you right now is that first portion, 261 to 270. Now, there is a lot going on during the war arc, specifically in the beginning, but the front half of this confrontation arc focuses on the reincarnation of all of the most important ninja from history, and this is on both sides. Kabuto is reincarnating the Akatsuki and the 7 Swordsmen of the Mist and all of the Jinchuriki, while Orochimaru, Sasuke, and the rest of Taka are reincarnating the Hokage. And with all of these very important people being brought back to life, we obviously see some very emotionally charged battles, like Inoshika Cho against the reincarnated Asuma, Gaara versus Rasa, and so on and so forth. But once again, we're only going to episode 270 here, because after episode 270, we have another yearly movie, and this time it's Road to Ninja. This movie revolves around Sakura and Naruto entering a separate dimension. Essentially, Naruto and Sakura are in a park in Konoha when they're confronted by Toby. Toby then blinds the two of them with a great light, and upon regaining their senses from being blinded, they wake up in an alternate dimension. An alternate dimension where Sasuke never left Konoha, and Naruto is referred to as Menma. And in this alternate dimension, Minato was never the 4th Hokage. In fact, the 4th Hokage had been Sakura's father, Kizuki, who alongside his wife Mibuki had sacrificed their lives in order to seal the Nine Tails inside of Menma. Within the confines of this alternate dimension, Tsunade tells Naruto and Sakura about a masked man who's trying to steal a red scroll. It's basically the alternate dimension version of Toby trying to steal the tailed beasts. And Tsunade tasks Sakura and Naruto to go on a mission with Minato and Kushina. As Sakura's parents had been the one who sacrificed themselves, Minato and Kushina were still alive. And it's at this point that it's revealed that Naruto and Sakura are in a limited version of Tsukiyomi, not infinite Tsukiyomi, so in a way it's kind of like when we saw everybody's infinite Tsukiyomi dreams. Sakura doesn't have to deal with her parents, and now she's famous because she's the child of heroes, and Naruto is supposed to be happy over the fact that his parents are still alive. However, in the beginning, Naruto sees the presence of his parents in the Tsukiyomi dream that he's aware of as a taunt by Toby. But over the course of the movie and the mission, Naruto begins to accept that these are his parents and begins to enjoy spending time with them. The movie plays heavily into Naruto's relationship with his parents and how as an orphan, he grew up lacking a lot of love. In essence, the tone of this movie is actually very similar to what Tanjiro went through in the Mugen Train movie, where Naruto is tempted into believing a reality that's not true because it's better than the reality he comes from. The tones of this movie are really cool, as it mostly focuses on accepting tragedy and moving on, with Naruto having to quite literally step away from his parents and thank them for loving him. On top of that, I believe this movie is quite literally the best interpretation of Sakura we've ever gotten in animated form, as without Sakura, Naruto most likely would have died in this movie. While Blood Prison might be my favorite movie because I'm a nerd and it answers a lot of my questions about the Naruto universe, I think this is probably the best Naruto movie. We see a huge fight between Naruto and Menma. We see a black version of Kurama. Itachi is leading the Akatsuki and they're good guys. You get to see more of Naruto's relationship with his parents, and Sakura is incredibly useful. On top of all of this, after being released from the limited Tsukiyomi, Naruto comes to the realization that even though he lost his parents, he has family in Konoha like Iruka. Of all of the Naruto movies, this one is arguably the most heartwarming. So if you're gonna watch one of them, this is probably the one you should watch. It's really the only one I rewatch outside of the last. Unfortunately, Road to Ninja was the last yearly Naruto Shippuden movie we ever got though, because between the episodes of 272 and 479, there is no other media outside of just standard old Naruto. There's no movies, there's no light novels that take place during this time. It's just the war arc in filler. And while some of that filler is really good, like the power arc, which happens from episode 290 to 295, the majority of it is awful. But we already touched on the confrontation arc, so that brings us to the Fourth Great Shinobi World War climax arc. Now this arc took place between episodes 322 and 375, with a big 20 episode filler arc somewhere in the middle there. Okay, I'm being dramatic. It wasn't 20 episodes, it was 14. But this 14 episode filler arc is actually a really good filler arc. And it's actually a filler arc I consider canon. See, this arc was Kakashi's Anbu arc, the shinobi that lives in the darkness. And this arc makes Kakashi the protagonist. Essentially, this arc covers the period of time when Kakashi was in the Anbu, so after the death of Minato. And we finally get a look into these incredibly pivotal years in Kakashi's life. See, Kakashi joined the Anbu because all of the light in his life disappeared. He had lost Obito, Rin, Minato, Kushina, basically everybody. And thus, over the course of multiple years, Kakashi got cast further and further into darkness, until eventually he was simply just a human weapon. Human weapon that got used by Konoha, more specifically Danzo. Throughout the duration of this arc, we get to see Kakashi's exploits in the Anbu, and how as time progressed, his soul became darker and darker, eventually not even blinking at the sight of wiping out enemy shinobis by the dozen. And through the eyes of Kakashi, we actually get a closer look into Yamato's backstory, as Yamato's backstory is highly tied into the Anbu and the Root. And the same could be said about Itachi, because as while Kakashi was reaching the height of his power in the Anbu, Itachi was just starting out in the Anbu. So we got to see the relationship between these two child geniuses going through trauma simultaneously. I hesitate to even call this arc filler, because it's not like other filler where we just need a different story that's not connected to the main story at all. This 14 episode filler arc took a chunk of time in the Naruto timeline that had previously been unexplained, and then proceeded to explain it. And considering that a couple of the events that occur within the confines of this 14 episode arc are corroborated by Itachi's 2 light novels, I genuinely have no reason to not believe it's canon. Meanwhile, outside of the confines of this 14 episode arc about Kakashi, obviously there is the climax to the Fourth Great Shinobi World War, where we see all of the 5 Kage in their battle against Madara, all of the 5 Kage dying to Madara, Tsunade bring them all back to life. We also have Itachi coming back to life and tag teaming with Sasuke against Kabuto to release Edo Tensei. And then at episode 378, the story takes another step forward in terms of craziness and power with the birth of the Ten-Tailed Jinchuriki in the form of Obito. And this is very similar to how the confrontation and climax arcs operated, with it basically being from episode 378 to 431 with a bunch of like mixed in filler arcs. But within the confines of the birth of the Ten-Tailed Jinchuriki arc, we have Obito becoming the Ten-Tailed Jinchuriki, Sasuke and Naruto working together with the majestic attire Susanoo to battle against him, essentially hitting him so hard that all of the tailed beasts begin to fly out of them grabbing the tailed beast and trying to pull it out of Obito, and then succeeding in pulling all the tailed beasts out of Obito. But then Obito is forced to bring Madara back to life using Rinne Rebirth. Madara gets the Rinnegan, takes over the Geto statue, pulls all the tailed beasts back into the Geto statue, and then becomes the Ten-Tailed Jinchuriki himself. And then after episode 431, you know what we decided we all needed? A 19 episode filler arc. And this one isn't bad, but it's not good either. Episodes 432 to 450 is Jiraiya's Shinobi Handbook, The Tale of Naruto, the Hero arc. This is essentially a visual retelling of Jiraiya's first novel, The Tale of the Utterly Gutsy Shinobi. This story, written by Jiraiya, tells the story of a hero named Naruto. And it's actually where Minato got the name for Naruto, and it's why Jiraiya is Naruto's godfather. It's a cute kind of what-if story of what Naruto could have been if nothing really went wrong. Everybody's still friends in the village, Tsunade's family's still alive, Dan is the Hokage, and it's cool to actually see a visualization of Jiraiya's novel because it means so much to the Naruto storyline as a whole. But did we need a 19-episode filler arc in the middle of the most important part of the war arc? Probably not. After that, though, we got to episode 451 through 479, and this is the Kage Otsutsuki Strikes arc. It's absolutely no different from any arc in the war arc. 4 episodes of canon, 3 episodes of filler, 5 episodes of canon, 2 episodes of filler, and so on and so forth. Within the confines of this arc, we see things like the infinite Tsukiyomi finally be realized when Madara reflects his Rinne Sharingan off the moon, and upon essentially reaching a godhood level of power with 2 Rinnegan and a Rinne Sharingan, everything seems like it's going Madara's way. That is until he gets a hole punched through his chest by Black Zetsu, and upon getting donuted by Black Zetsu, his body becomes too weak to maintain the Ten Tails, and thus the Ten Tails rejects him and becomes Kaguya Otsutsuki. Like it or not, that's just how the story ends. Oh, and then obviously before Madara died, Naruto and Sasuke got their power-ups from Sky Daddy, and then after Madara died, Kakashi got his power-up from like a version of Sky Daddy, but that version of Sky Daddy was just Obito, who still had some of his Sage of Six Paths chakra left to give to Kakashi, because that's a thing that a lot of people don't know. Not only did Kakashi get DMS in that situation, being able to access both different types of abilities from Kamui, he also got Sage of Six Paths chakra from Obito, which is why he was so powerful. So Ultra Boosted Naruto, Sasuke, Kakashi, and not Ultra Boosted Sakura throw hands with Kaguya. And upon placing the Sun and Moon seal on both sides of Kaguya, Naruto and Sasuke, as the final reincarnations of Indra and Ashura, seal Kaguya in a Chibuka Tensai, creating a new moon in Kaguya's dimension that seals her at the moment Naruto was being created, but a couple of months later got retconned to killing her. And after Kaguya sealed away and everyone's really tired and worn out from the world almost ending like 4 separate times, Sasuke decides to make everything about himself, as he takes 8.5 of the tailed beasts under his power and fights against Naruto, saying that in order to become the most effective Hokage that he can be, he has to kill his one friend on Earth, Naruto. Naruto and Sasuke, still having an insane amount of chakra left for some reason, then proceed to essentially have a mech fight, where Naruto at some point makes 3 copies of Kurama, slams them all together, has 3 faces and 6 arms as a massive Kurama chakra clone, and throws planetary-sized Rasen Shuriken at Sasuke's Indra's arrow. They cancel each other out. It finishes with both of them blowing each other's arms off and unfortunately not kissing. Also, feels important to note that within the confines of this 451 to 479 window of Naruto that we're talking about here, they decided, for some reason, to animate Itachi's light novels, though they skip just so much information. All right, so cool. We're now at episode 479. We must be close to the end, right? Wrong. After you get to episode 479, you have to go and read Kakashi Hiden. I know, it feels like we haven't talked about a light novel in years, and that's because we haven't. But that kind of makes sense. Why would there be light novels during Naruto's manga run? Kakashi Hiden takes place roughly a year after the conclusion of the Fourth Great Shinobi World War, and basically deals with the fact that after the conclusion of the Fourth Great Shinobi World War, Tsunade wanted Kakashi to assume the mantle of the 6th Hokage. However, Kakashi wasn't entirely sure if he was up to that level of responsibility. On top of that, the fallout of the Fourth Great Shinobi World War and the massive amount of loss of death, specifically in the form of shinobi, has led to a somewhat lawless era, where people who are inspired by the notions and movements of Madara have tried to pick up where he left off. And thus, this book gives us our best perspective of the world directly after the Fourth Great Shinobi World War. We get to see how Naruto's faring with a brand new prosthetic arm. We get to see Kakashi grapple with the idea of leading an entire village. And more than anything, we get to see Kakashi grapple with the loss of his Sharingan. You see, while the overarching theme to this book is Kakashi trying to find the courage to lead Konoha, it manifests through him accomplishing a mission where he reveals Purple Lightning, a technique he created to replace Chidori, one that wouldn't require the use of a Sharingan. And since this book is also about Kakashi, we also get a healthy dose of Might Guy, and nobody can complain about that. And it's actually the only time after the war arc that we ever see Might Guy really fight. And what's aggravating about it is that in this novel, Might Guy isn't even really that slowed down. And by the end of this novel, we see Kakashi finally being comfortable enough to take the mantle of being the 6th Hokage. This book actually gives us a really good look into Kakashi's psychology. And as Kakashi has arguably been through more than almost everybody in the entirety of Naruto, to go through what he's gone through to eventually become Hokage, This is an incredible full circle moment. So if Kakashi's one of your favorite characters, I highly recommend this read. Our next couple of entries here are a bit weird. After Kakashi Hiden, go back to the anime and watch episodes 480 through 483. These episodes are technically flashback episodes, but they show us things that we've never seen before. So we get a closer look into the relationship of Naruto and Hinata, Sasuke and Sakura, and we even get a peek into the life of Gaara and Shikamaru, and Jiraiya and Kakashi. Like, for all intents and purposes, these are very much filler episodes, but after the conclusion of the war arc, it was kind of nice to have this filler buffer to make my heart warm and make me see all these characters in cute situations. So while technically chronologically going to Kakashi Hiden before these flashback episodes doesn't make a whole lot of sense, the end of Naruto is kind of a jumble of chronological order. I say that because chronologically, Shikamaru Hiden happens right after Kakashi Hiden, but that's annoying. Why is that aggravating? Well, because Shikamaru Hiden actually gets animated into Naruto for episodes 489 through 493, but Sasuke Shinden, Book of Sunrise, gets animated into Naruto in episodes 484 through 488. But Sasuke Shinden chronologically happens after Shikamaru Hiden. So what you're gonna do here is you're gonna go back and you're gonna watch up until episode 483. Then you are gonna go either read Shikamaru Hiden or watch it in episodes 489 to 493. See, Shikamaru Hiden is about Shikamaru's life 2 years after the conclusion of the Fourth Great Shinobi World War. And it opens with Shikamaru wondering about how his life went so awry. See, after the conclusion of the Fourth Great Shinobi World War, Shikamaru got appointed to advising the 5 Kages in the Shinobi Union. See, the Shinobi Union is a bit like the UN. It was the continuation of the allied shinobi forces, where all 5 villages came together in order to rule together. In this book, Shikamaru has to travel to the Land of Silence. See, the Land of Silence is a samurai-run nation, and it's believed that for some reason, young shinobi men have been abandoning their villages to go to the Land of Silence. And thus, in order to investigate the nature of these disappearances, Shikamaru is sent. And upon getting to the Land of Silence, it's revealed that the daimyo of the Land of Silence has been overthrown by a man by the name of Genjo. Unfortunately, though, while trying to assassinate Genjo, Shikamaru is captured. And it's later revealed that Sai has also been captured by the Land of Silence. And thus, Sakura, Ino, and Temari are sent to the Land of Silence to save the 2 of them. And the story serves as the basis for how Sai and Ino and Shikamaru and Temari fell in love and then subsequently got married. The anime actually does a really good job encapsulating this light novel into the anime. But if you want some more details, or Sai and Ino or Shikamaru and Temari your favorite couple, then I'd recommend reading the light novel. But more than anything, this light novel was to serve as the purpose for these people to meet up and then subsequently have children for the next generation in Boruto. And actually in the epilogue, we get a really cute moment where it's kind of like the prologue where Shikamaru is thinking about how his life has gone awry, except instead of thinking about how his life has gone awry, he's puzzled by what he should name him and Temari's son. So it's kind of a cute full circle moment. After you read Shikamaru Hiden or watch Shikamaru Hiden, you then should go watch The Last. See, The Last is the only canon Naruto movie, and it essentially tells the story of how Naruto and Hinata finally fall in love. As it's revealed that when Hamura moved to the moon to keep an eye on Kaguya, he brought people with him to continue the Otsutsuki clan. However, this clan has killed itself off, and the only person left is Toneri Otsutsuki. And Toneri Otsutsuki wants to unlock a Tenseigan, the Tenseigan being the upgraded version of the Byakugan, much in the same way that the Rinnegan is the upgraded version of the Sharingan. However, in order to awaken a Tenseigan, an Otsutsuki needs to implant a Hyuga's Byakugan into their face. But while shopping around for Byakugan in the Hyuga clan, Toneri sees Hinata and falls in love with her, and therefore kidnaps her and brings her to the moon. And throughout the course of this movie, Naruto is made to realize that Hinata has been in love with him for years and has to go save her on the moon. Outside of the fact that this movie has some of the greatest fight scenes in Naruto history, with Naruto and Toneri fighting on the moon, we get to see Naruto and Hinata's first kiss. I have absolutely no hesitation in saying that Naruto The Last is my favorite piece of Naruto content. The animation is incredible, the introduction of Toneri and the Tenseigan is sick, and it's both Naruto and Hinata's best looks in the entirety of Naruto. Don't even get me started on Hinata in that black dress. Cool, now we've finished the first side of this paper. Now we still have the second side. After you watch The Last, you gotta read Sakura Hiden. Sakura Hiden is basically the story of how Sakura and Sasuke end up together. Which, like, when we're considering the fact that all of these people are the same age and all of their kids are the same age, everybody kinda had to hook up at the same time. This book takes place roughly 2 or so years after the conclusion of the Fourth Great Shinobi World War, and Sasuke has been gone from Konoha for a long time, keeping track of the Otsutsuki. This book is about a group of Anbu members who have become disgruntled with the way that the ninja world is currently, as an Anbu member with no war really has nothing to do. So these these Anbu members create a synthetic drug that allows them to tap into the power of Kurama, giving all of them Kurama Jin cloaks, essentially. Sakura then basically takes on an entire squadron of Anbu members with version 1 Jin cloaks, and upon defeating their leader, it's revealed that some of the other Anbu members have tried to flee, but all of these Anbu members were defeated through a combination of fire and genjutsu, which implies that Sasuke had come back to protect Sakura, seeing that she was in a battle of huge proportion. But he had interfered with her battle, he had just taken out the people who were fleeing. This warms Sakura's heart because it shows that Sasuke cares enough about her to protect her, which reinstills to her that she still has a place in Sasuke's heart. Upon turning in all of these captured Anbu members to Ibiki, Sakura returns home, and upon returning home, Sasuke is waiting for her there, where he says, "I'm home." It's heavily implied that this is the beginning of their relationship. And honestly, after reading Sakura Hiden, not only did I have a newfound respect for Sakura and her insane level of strength, this in combination with Sasuke Retsudan gives us an incredible look into Sakura and Sasuke's love. While things like the anime and the manga genuinely do not give their relationship justice, upon reading these light novels, even I have to slightly relinquish the fact that Sasuke may not be a good husband. Once you read these light novels, you understand that he does have a genuinely huge amount of love for her, and there's multiple times that he protects her, works with her, and respects her. They're tough reads for me. After you finish Sakura Hiden, you can either read Konoha Hiden, A Great Day for a Wedding, or you can just finish Naruto. Because episodes 494 to 500 of Naruto are just an animation of Konoha Hiden, A Great Day for a Marriage, which tells the story of everybody in the village getting ready for Naruto and Hinata's wedding. Within the confines of this light novel, or the last 7 episodes of Naruto, we get a look into all of the couples as they're getting ready to go to Naruto and Hinata's wedding. So Shikamaru and Temari are there, Ino and Sai are there, and the real problem is Sasuke isn't really there and Sakura's freaking out about it. I just love seeing that scene where Naruto asks Saruka to walk him down the aisle as his father. Obviously reading that is incredible, yes, but seeing it animated, I cry every time. Outside of these last 7 episodes are my top 3 favorite things in Naruto. I would say it goes the last, Parent-Child Day, and then these last 7 episodes. After you've either read Konoha Hiden or just finished Naruto's anime, now you can get to Akatsuki Hiden. Akatsuki Hiden is kind of weird because Akatsuki Hiden is just technically a bunch of stories from all of the different pairings in the Akatsuki. So technically Akatsuki Hiden either happens during or before the timeline of Naruto. But the Akatsuki Hiden prologue is Sasuke traveling around the world and he bumps into 2 brothers throwing paper shuriken. And then one of the brothers says that the sunrise looks like the Akatsuki. But in Japanese, Akatsuki is just the word for daybreak. But just hearing the word Akatsuki sends Sasuke down a spiral of thinking about the Akatsuki. And then we get a bunch of stories about Akatsuki members from Sasuke thinking about the Akatsuki. As to how all of this really wraps into each other, I don't really remember, but each duo's team on the Akatsuki gets their own little side story that we've never heard of prior. So we get a story about Itachi and Kisame, Hidan and Kakuzu, Sasori and Deidara, Nagato and Konan, and it's actually arguably the best look we've ever had into any of the members of the Akatsuki psychology. We got to see how Kisame and Itachi were blindly loyal to each other. We got to see Sasori and Deidara bond over art. We got to see Hidan meet a child and teach him the practices of Joshinism. And we got to learn about how Konan wanted a family, but unfortunately, because of the fact that her body was now paper, she couldn't have one. Basically, everything we know about Akatsuki members and who they were as people comes from this light novel. Then after Akatsuki Hiden, finally, we have Sasuke Shinden, which aggravatingly was animated in episodes 484 to 488, even though it canonically happened long after Naruto and Hinata were married. This light novel starts off with Sasuke still investigating Kage Otsutsuki, specifically looking into how she created her White Zetsu army. And this research brings him to the land of hot water, where he not only stumbles upon the last surviving member of the Shinyoku clan, he also stumbles upon an illegal fighting ring where children with huge amounts of ninjutsu prowess are forced to battle each other. Through this light novel, we get to see a lot of Sasuke's growth. He's firm yet kind with these children who he's trying to liberate from this fighting ring. His time alone has allowed him to reflect on the darkness that was once in his heart and how he's trying to replace it with new good deeds. And more than anything, he's confronted with the darkness of his clan's past, as the Shinyoku clan was cast down into the valley of hell by the Uchiha during the Warring States period. And thus Sasuke has to deal with the repercussions of his clan's actions and reflect on how the darkness of the Uchiha was like a poison to the entirety of the clan, and how he was going to try to adjust that darkness into brightness for the future generations of the Uchiha. I would say that the show did a relatively good job of animating this light novel, but they definitely skipped a lot of pretty crucial growth moments for Sasuke. So while it's not necessary that you go read this, you'll definitely have a better understanding of Sasuke's couple of years after the war arc if you do. After reading Sasuke Shinden, then you go ahead and read Gaara Hiden. Now this is technically the first light novel revolving around somebody not from Konoha. I mean, obviously there's Akatsuki Hiden, but each of them only had a chapter. This is an entire light novel dedicated to Gaara, specifically Gaara a couple years after the conclusion of the Fourth Great Shinobi World War. What we know about the Hidden Sand is that for as long as it's been around, it's had funding issues. The Hidden Sand being located in a desert means they really can't grow any crops for their own, meaning that for the entirety of the clan's history, they've had to been reliant on shinobi work to pay the bills. But unfortunately, in an era of peace, shinobi work has dried up a little bit. So Gaara is finding alternative ways to fund the village. However, while Gaara is trying to find new ways to fund the village, Temari and Kankuro say that he, as the Kazekage, should get married and have a child. Because for those of you who don't know, Kazekage's ship is usually passed down through one clan. This is why going from Rasa to Gaara was a clear decision, even though Gaara was so young. Thus, in order to continue the line of the Kazekage clan, Gaara should get married and have a child. So this light novel is actually about Gaara trying to find a wife. And in the process of trying to find a wife, a lot of things go wrong. And through the duration of the book, Gaara realizes that love just may not be in the cards for him. After you completed Gaara Hiden and found out that his one true love is just cactus farming, you can then read Naruto chapter 700, or you can watch the beginning of Boruto. Because Naruto chapter 700, the last chapter of Naruto, and the first couple episodes of Boruto focus on the same thing, the day Naruto became Hokage. This is about 15 years after the conclusion of the Fourth Great Shinobi World War, when Naruto is assuming the mantle of Hokage from Kakashi. At this point, Boruto and Himawari are born, him and Hinata are living together in a house, and this chapter tells the story of obviously the day Naruto became Hokage. Though unfortunately the story is a bit complicated because Himawari activates her Byakugan and knocks Naruto out. And thus Naruto needs somebody to stand in for him during his ceremony to become the 7th Hokage. After that, we are officially in Boruto. And as somebody who has a fair to middling understanding of Boruto, I'm not going to be diving into each one of these arcs. I'm just going to tell you how to consume Boruto media or light novels that are occurring during Boruto. The first thing that you're going to be reading in Boruto, ironically, is a light novel. And it's actually technically not even a Boruto light novel, of which there's 5. The first thing you're going to be reading within the confines of the Boruto timeline is Konoha Shinden, the Steam Ninja Scrolls. This is a story about Mirai Sarutobi, Might Guy, and Kakashi looking for the last sect of Joshinists. Essentially, it's been revealed to Konoha that people are being abducted from hot springs areas. And so Kakashi and Might Guy go on a vacation to check out these hot springs, and Mirai accompanies them. While in the beginning of the story, it seems as though Kakashi and Might Guy are just going on their honeymoon to celebrate their marriage, it's quickly revealed that the reason they're checking out these hot springs is to find this last sect of Joshinists. See, throughout this novel, we get some incredible moments from Kakashi, but genuinely the main character of it is Mirai. See, Mirai Sarutobi is the child of Asuma and Kurenai. And this story is really the first time we ever get to spend any time with her. See, Kurenai was pregnant the second Asuma died, meaning that she's somewhere between 10 and 12 years older than the new generation. And so unfortunately, the story never really focuses on her. But in this light novel, which is actually currently getting a manga, which may get animated once again outside of the confines of what they did for it in Boruto, because Boruto's telling of it is really choppy, we get to see Mirai come to grips with her flame ability, which she inherited from Asuma, a man who unfortunately she never knew. On top of that, it's a story about Might Guy and Kakashi hanging out as two old gays, and goddamn it, do I love that. And more than anything, the story actually answers a lot of questions about Joshinism, because Joshinism for the longest time was a big question mark. How was Hidan able to accomplish immortality? Has anybody else ever figured it out? All of these questions are answered, but unfortunately, the bigger question, like who was Lord Joshin, isn't. After you finish the Steam Ninja Scrolls, the beginning of Boruto is kind of weird. For some reason, in the beginning of Boruto, they felt as though all the anime canon arcs that they were opening up the story with needed their own light novels. So you can either watch the first 15 episodes of Boruto, or you can read the 3 corresponding light novels that coordinate to those first 15 episodes. And then after that, you have to read Naruto Gaiden, another light novel, but not one coordinated to Boruto's timeline. See, there's 5 of these Boruto light novels. And I actually don't know whether or not these light novels were written first and then they were adapted into the first 30 or so episodes of Boruto, or if it was vice versa. Regardless, all you need to know is that episodes 1 through 38 of Boruto all have light novels attached to them. But smack dab in the middle of that, after the 3rd light novel, or episode 15, we have Naruto Gaiden, also known as Naruto Gaiden, the 7th Hokage in the Scarlet Spring. Now, you know how I said episodes 1 through 38 were all animated into Boruto? Well, so is this light novel, except I believe that this light novel existed prior to Boruto, while the other light novels were created after Boruto. Regardless, this light novel encapsulates the Sarada Uchiha arc, which introduces Shin Uchiha. See, Shin Uchiha actually has an interesting place in canonicity. Shin Uchiha has the ability to have any foreign object grafted onto his body, meaning that regardless of what you grafted onto him, his body would accept it. Because of this ability, it's actually revealed that it was Shin Uchiha's arm that was attached to Danzo with all the Sharingan. And because Shin has the ability to have anything grafted onto his body and then use it, he's covered his body in Sharingan created by Orochimaru. See, Shin is obsessed with Itachi and wants to revitalize the Akatsuki because he believes in Itachi so much. But because Shin loves Itachi so much, he hates Sasuke because Sasuke is the person who killed Itachi. Thus, in order to get back at Sasuke, he kidnaps Sarada Uchiha. While I would say that the light novel version of the story offers a lot more information about Shin, his abilities, how Sakura fights against him, how Sasuke swings in, how all of this plays into Sarada's mentality, I would highly recommend watching this. The fight between Sakura and Shin is awesome. You get to see Boruto Sakura's insane strength. You get to see and enjoy the family dynamic between Sarada, Sasuke, and Sakura. And Shin Uchiha is a legitimate weapon, having a Mangekyo Sharingan that allows him to control basically infinite weapons and teleport, all of which were created by Orochimaru. And when you consider the fact that Shin Uchiha was able to press Naruto and Sasuke, the fact that Sakura is boxing with this dude says a lot. After you finish Naruto Gaiden or the Sarada Uchiha arc, you watch Boruto until episode 38. And upon getting to Boruto's 38th episode, you can either watch the Boruto movie or you can simply watch the Boruto movie happen in Boruto. I personally would recommend watching the Boruto movie happen in Boruto because the fight between Sasuke, Naruto, and Momoshiki is better in the anime, but it's entirely up to you. This arc is the Chunin exam arc of Boruto that happens from roughly episode 38 to episode 64. Essentially, Momoshiki and his lower ranking Otsutsuki partner Kinshiki come to the earth to finish what Kaguya couldn't. Momoshiki wants to collect all of the tailed beasts now that they're spread out, and he starts this process by attacking Killer Bee and then Naruto. Naruto, unfortunately put in a situation where he has to protect the entirety of Konoha more than he has to protect himself, gets kidnapped by Momoshiki. But Sasuke rallies the 5 Kage and Boruto and they go battle against Momoshiki. The ensuing battle is quite literally the best fight in Naruto's history. The only fight that even comes remotely close is the Valley of the End or Naruto versus Toneri on the Moon. Naruto and Sasuke are straight up boxing in this. Even if you don't want to watch Boruto, just watch this fight. After Momoshiki is defeated, he implants a karma marking on Boruto and the real plot of Boruto starts. Well, I say that, but the Momoshiki arc ends on episode 66 and there isn't another canon episode until episode 93, so never mind. I'd argue that Boruto's real story hasn't even really started yet in the anime. At episode 93 of Boruto, we get the Parent and Child Day, which is an adaptation of Naruto's Shinden Parent and Child Day. This is probably my second favorite piece of Naruto literature ever. Episodes 93 through 95 of Boruto, or the light novel, tell the story of a holiday where parents and children compete in games together. And within the confines of this story, we see Chocho and Choji compete in an eating competition. We see Sasuke struggle trying to find a present for Sarada. And we see Naruto scrambling around the village trying to find the perfect plushie for Himawari. In every single situation, we truly just get a fun moment to watch some of our favorite characters be grown-ups and interact with their children. And while some of them may not be the world's best parents, just watching them try to make their kids happy just makes me so happy. I would watch a 100 episode show about Naruto hanging out with Himawari. After that, we have another light novel, Sasuke Shinden, the teacher's star pupil. Now, this light novel has Sasuke returning back to Konoha after the defeat of Momoshiki. And while traveling on a thunder train, it's bombed. It's revealed through a series of events that this train was bombed by the Purple Moon religion, but specifically a fringe militaristic offshoot of the Purple Moon religion. Sasuke, Konohamaru, and the new Team 7 have to work together in order to defeat this fringe militaristic offshoot. The true purpose of the light novel is to show Sasuke training the new Team 7. And while throughout the duration of Boruto, we get to see Sasuke training Sarada a couple of times, this light novel actually gives us a really good deep look into Sasuke and Sarada's relationship. How Sarada doesn't like it when Sasuke leaves, but she understands his role to the village, and how Sasuke hates leaving her behind but has a higher allegiance to keeping the entire village safe. And the underlying tone of the entire novel is that Sarada and Sasuke have a relationship very similar to Sasuke and Itachi, where Sarada wants to see and train with Sasuke, but unfortunately he can't always be there for her because he's trying to do grander and larger things to protect Sarada. On top of that, this light novel actually gives us a really good look into Konohamaru and Boruto and Mitsuki and Sarada's relationship, as it feels in the Boruto anime and manga that we never really get to see this Team 7 hang out, which is part of the reason that people don't really relate to Konohamaru and Boruto, because he's just not around. But this light novel does give us a really good opportunity to see what he's like with his team. And so if you're interested in watching Sasuke grow his relationship with his daughter, this is a really good read. After this, we have episodes 93 to 140 of Boruto, which are all anime canon, definitely not filler.
Oh, we introduced one character and we'll throw her in a couple of manga canon episodes, so all of this counts as something.
It's filler, all right? You're putting makeup on a pig. Then when we get to episode 140, we have Shikamaru Shinden. Now we know exactly where Shikamaru Shinden happens because it's stated that the Mujina Bandit arc happens during the second chapter of the novel. And the Mujina Bandit arc happens at episode 140. This light novel is about Shikamaru being hilariously overworked by being the aide to Naruto. And because Shikamaru was so overworked by his responsibility to the village, he really has no time to spend with Temari or Shikada, making him both a lacking father and husband. And while technically the plot of the novel is that the Land of Stone daimyo wants the Hidden Stone to start another war so that shinobi can be shinobi again, and thus Naruto and the rest of the Shinobi Union have to come together and work diplomatically to work against the Land of Stone daimyo, which results in a continental Kage meeting where every single daimyo from every small village and their aides and the 5 Kage all come together to discuss this. And Shikamaru and Naruto are essentially forced to diffuse the tension that could result in another war between villages. The real underlying tone of the story is that Shikamaru is finding that his work is incredibly important and his family is also incredibly important. As through finding love for his work and what he does and getting validation that what he does is important, he comes to the realization that even though what he does is incredibly important, it's also important for him to spend time with those who love him. On top of all that, this light novel gives us a really good look into how Naruto is as a Hokage. See, within the confines of Boruto, all we really see of Naruto as Hokage is either being buried in paperwork or fighting Otsutsuki. But during this light novel, we genuinely get to see Naruto step up as the Hokage and be a shining light for the entire world. And we get to see how Shikamaru's aid and intelligence helps put Naruto on the biggest possible stage so that his natural charisma can shine. On top of that, there's a moment in this light novel where Shikamaru puts every single Kage under shadow possession. So, you know, do with that as you will. And before you ask questions, yes, Naruto is able to break out of it. It's heavily implied Garou have been able to break out of it as well. Then you can watch episodes 141 of 151 of Boruto, which is the Mujina Bandits arc. But also, while the Mujina Bandits arc is going on, so is the entirety of the Retsudan trilogy. See, the Retsudan trilogy, Kakashi Retsudan, Sasuke Retsudan, and Naruto Retsudan, are some of the only light novels that are canon to each other, as they are a trilogy and a natural continuation of each other. And while the Retsudan novels came out in 2019 in Japan, we actually didn't get them in English until summer of this year. So they're about as new as Naruto content gets for those of you not watching Boruto. The first of the light novels, Kakashi Retsudan, is about Kakashi traveling to the land of Ridaku. So Kakashi has traveled to the land of Ridaku because it was said to be a favorite of the Sage of Six Paths Hagoromo, and possibly where he split the 10 tails into the 9-tailed beasts. It was said to be an area bustling with natural chakra, a paradise of sorts. But upon getting there, Kakashi realizes that it is no longer that. The area is desolate and barren with people starving everywhere. And while Kakashi has only traveled to the land of Ridaku to gather information on Hagoromo to save Naruto's life, because Naruto has begun to become afflicted by a disease that Hagoromo once suffered from, a disease that attacks Hagoromo and now Naruto's chakra systems. A disease that, if allowed to run rampant, will eventually take away Naruto's ability to use chakra and kill him. And because it's known that Hagoromo was able to find the cure and cure himself from this disease, Kakashi is trying to find out how he did that. In fact, that's the central tenet of these 3 entire novels. And thus, while Kakashi is incredibly driven to find information on Hagoromo, he can't turn a blind eye to a failing country filled with miserable people. But Kakashi is surprised by the fact that this country is desolate, because for the entirety of this country's history, the monarch of the country has been able to use a thing called the Suegu, which allows the monarch of the country to create rain to help the country grow crops. The problem is the current queen can't use it, but there's somebody else in the royal family, specifically a prince. However, this prince fled the country to go to Nagare village and is thus considered a failure. This light novel sees Kakashi trying to usurp a greedy prime minister who was branded the prince who was simply trying to help his nation a failure. It has Kakashi trying to reinstate this failed prince as the monarch of the country, and trying to avoid a war as he brings Prince Nanara back to the monarchy. Of the 3 Retsudan novels, this one is arguably the weakest. I mean, it's a story about Kakashi, so it's fantastic, but the other 2 Retsudan novels are incredible. Getting to see an older and wiser version of Kakashi and how he approaches problems differently from a younger Kakashi is really awesome, especially because Kakashi is alone. On top of that, there's a lot of touching moments between Kakashi and the younger members of the monarchy, like the queen and the prince, as Kakashi fills a somewhat mentor/father role for them, as their father, the king, had recently died. All the while, there's the undertone that Kakashi has been vehemently looking for a cure to Naruto's ailment, meaning that Kakashi, who is severely retired, still cares enough about Naruto that he would put his life in danger simply to find information to help him. The next thing you would obviously get into would be Sasuke Retsudan, which is a story about Sasuke breaking into a prison that used to be an astronomy lab where Hagoromo used to stare at the stars. It said within the confines of this prison, there's a thing called polar particles that Hagoromo used to heal his sickness. So Sasuke and Sakura break into this prison to find these polar particles, but while looking for the polar particles, uncover a scheme to Edo Tensei a bunch of dragons back to life and start a war against the land of Ridaku. So it's up to Sasuke and Sakura to undermine the scheme and make sure that a bunch of dragons, which apparently existed at one point in Naruto's universe, don't get brought back through Edo Tensei. Now, while obviously the main goal of this light novel is either to stop the Edo Tensei dragons or collect the polar particles, the real star of this light novel is Sasuke and Sakura. Not only do we get to see some incredibly cool abilities from both Sakura and Sasuke, Sakura having the ability to seep her chakra into the ground and exactly understand what's going on down below her, and Sasuke apparently having ice release, we also get to see how they rely on each other in combat, and how even though they're usually apart from each other, they have a massive amount of love for each other. As Sasuke, in a somewhat jealous move because a prisoner is hitting on Sakura, gives her an engagement ring. Getting to see the 2 of them work together in ninja work and talk about their relationship as parents is really cool, actually, especially when you take into account the epilogue where Sasuke and Sakura return home to Sarada, who has been staying with Iruka because her parents have been away doing ninja work. And there's a scene in the epilogue where Sarada wants to cook for Sasuke and Sakura, and every single meal she cooks has tomatoes because that's Sasuke's favorite food. So I would say that better than any piece of Naruto literature created, that this light novel gives us a look into Sasuke and Sakura's relationship and their family dynamic. Unfortunately, this light novel ends off with Shikamaru reporting that they're doing a lab analysis on the polar particles, but even though he believes that they might soon make a breakthrough, they believe that Naruto may lose his ability to use chakra forever. And then boom, we're in Naruto Retsudan. I am tired. I feel like Gigik explaining the fate timeline. And Naruto Retsudan actually gives us a better look into Naruto's illness and tells us how 6 months prior to the events of Naruto Retsudan, Naruto began to feel a sharp pain in his chest whenever he used the Shadow Clone. And after that, every single time Naruto tried to use ninjutsu of any sort, he felt a sharp pain in his chest. One day, after using Earth Release while training with Boruto, it became really bad, and Naruto had to make an excuse to leave Boruto behind and go try to get to a hospital. But before he got to a hospital, he collapsed in an abandoned aviary, where Kurama revealed to him that Hagoromo had suffered from the same sickness, but had somehow got it cured in the land of Ridaku. We then in the first chapter see Sasuke and Sakura head out to the Astronomy Research Center in the land of Ridaku, and Naruto returns home from on top of the Hokage Rock. However, upon returning home, Orochimaru is in his house. So that's not weird in Boruto because Mitsuki and Boruto are best friends, and Orochimaru and Himawari are actually really close. And this light novel isn't actually getting fully translated into English until 2023. But from what I can surmise from shaky English fan translations of this light novel is that Naruto works collaboratively with Orochimaru and the other people who make shinobi wear technology in Konoha to find a way to reverse engineer his polar particles into a cure for his disease. This is heavily reliant on an ongoing relationship with a country by the name of the Land of Stairs. And genuinely, even though I knew Naruto gets saved because obviously he fights Ishiki and Boruto and he's fine down the line, even the shaky English translations that I found online had me gripped to the edge of my seat. Seeing Orochimaru's influence in the later stages of Konoha's development is crazy, especially when you consider how much stronger he is now than he was in the early days of Naruto. Orochimaru literally comes to Naruto's house with a pair of glasses that are capable of stealing and replicating people's dojutsu ability. Orochimaru, by basically just sitting across the table from Hinata, is able to steal and replicate her Byakugan prowess, meaning that anybody who puts the glasses on and turns them on has the power of a Byakugan, meaning that Naruto, when wearing them, had Byakugan prowess. While a large undertone of this story is the entire village working collaboratively to make sure that Naruto's okay, genuinely what I took from the story is all the different kinds of technologies that are currently being created in Konoha, and how it's signaling in a new era in Konoha to be brought into modern society. You get to see some incredible technology like drones, ray guns, motor vehicles. It's kind of awesome, but unfortunately the majority of you are probably gonna have to wait until March 2023 to get the English translation here. And that's honestly what I would recommend, to get the best possible translation. And then after you finish Naruto Retsudan, you can watch episode 151 of Boruto all the way to wherever it is now. Though I would just recommend reading the manga, because the manga of Boruto is actually very good. The entirety of Naruto's timeline chronologically explained and surmised. My headache has a headache. I've been filming for 6.5 hours. But if you liked this chronological breakdown of the entirety of Naruto's plot, drop them in the comments below. And please, while you guys are down there, for me, like this video, subscribe to the page, and hit that noti bell. It was like 1 p.m. today, and I was like, oh, this would be a fun idea. It's 9 p.m.